I'm not perfect. You know, I try to be as best I can. And I always tell my students, like, my competition is not against the guy down the street or another master, no. My competition is being better than from what I was yesterday.
Best version of you.
Best version of me. I try to be a better brother, a better son, a better instructor, a better master, a better friend. I fall short maybe sometimes. I am human, but my intention is there, and I try very hard every day to do so.
Welcome everyone to tonight's episode of A Black Belt Way of Life. I am your host, Master Joseph Lupo Jr. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Merino Printing. You could catch them on Instagram at Merino Printing, M-E-R-I-N-O, Merino Printing. Tonight, it is my pleasure, my honor to have my longest ever training partner. Go back many hair follicles ago. Long time. Master John Rodriguez, my business partner, like I said, my longest training partner. There's probably, in my 41 years of Taekwondo, I've dropped more sweat with you, more blood with you than anyone else out there by far.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And I love it that you're here tonight. We're gonna bring it back to the very, very beginning of your start.
Many moons ago.
Nah. You're older than me. People don't realize it. You're older than me.
Yes, I'm 46.
Yeah, I'm 44. You know, yes. I know the hair doesn't show it, but because you look at that picture right there, your hair is the same. You know? Let's kick it off.
Okay.
Let's bring it back. I want to know, I know it. And the great thing about tonight is much of what we're going to talk about, we've experienced together. There's not much in life, in and out of the school, that we haven't experienced together. So let's bring it back. I want your take on what brought your mom to take you into my father's school in Whitestone in 1990. Hold on. 1993. I was 13 years old.
And I was 16.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what led up to that point for your mother to bring you into my father's school?
I've always...
Wait.
Oh.
Salud.
Salud. It's the good stuff.
Yeah, man. Only the best.
Well, I always had interest in martial arts for a very long time. From the movies, my idols such as Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Lee. I was a big fan of the Chinese films.
Wu-Tang, baby.
Wu-Tang, the Five Deadly Venoms. Martial arts was always something that I was always interested in doing. And I told my parents, and they were very hesitant. But when we moved to the neighborhood, we saw your school. We saw, I think my mom actually went inside the school to speak to your dad for a second. And then she saw it as an opportunity to help me become more disciplined or take my focus away from the things that I was doing. The things I was doing were very negative. We actually moved to Whitestone because I used to live in Elmhurst. And I was blocks away from Newtown High School, which at that time had a bad reputation for being gang affiliated. And a lot of, negative news came from that school. So I first went to Forest Hills High School, which my mom thought was a great idea, and then that turned out to be one of the most troublesome years of my life. I was involved in numerous altercations with other kids. I was arrested twice.
Damn.
One was for assault with a deadly weapon with a police officer. I didn't know that he was there. I was beating up some kid. Police officer tried to yank me off. I hit him, the police officer, with an elbow. So I was 14 years old. I was getting into trouble. They went into my school bag. I had a blade in my school bag. And it was just I just wanted to be a part of something.
You were going down the wrong path at that point.
Wrong path in many ways.
Yeah.
So my mom decided, my whole family decided to move to Whitestone, and she decided to find a place to push my energy somewhere more positive.
Yeah.
And that's where our story begins.
It does begin.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll bring it back to that day. I'll give you my version. Let me let me explain the setup. You have to understand the setup of the office. My father had his main desk right when you walked in. Over to the left was a smaller desk.
I remember.
That's where I was. I was actually in the office when your mother brought you in there. I think I was doing my homework.
Yes, yes.
And let me tell you, man, all I could remember is she brought you in there, your mom, tiny little woman, God bless, and she had her head up high.
Always a proud woman.
You had your head down, like...
Well, this was literally, I think a few weeks after I'd been arrested.
Yeah. Yeah. And my father had a reputation in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Of straightening people out. You know, that was
my
the
mom
time.
did her homework, and
Yeah.
she found out that your father was a no-nonsense type of person.
Yeah. And I'll never forget it. Your mom looked at my dad and said, I'm giving you permission to beat my son.
Master Joe, please, just beat my son, please.
At that point, I'm a 13-year-old kid, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this guy's gonna die. I was like, is she serious? I didn't know. At 13 years old, I'm saying to myself, your mom is the meanest person on earth. I didn't understand it. I'm a little kid.
She had all the right.
And I'm like saying to myself, does she know what's about to happen? Does she, I don't, it was crazy. I'll be honest with you. I think that's why I became your friend. I felt bad for you, bro.
You said I was standing there with my head down, but it was kind of like down, like I was a little excited. I was proud because, you know, all those movies, they have the guys in their kimase stands getting hit with the sticks. And I'm just like, oh, when is it my turn? Oh. Yes, I was ready. I was ready.
You were ready?
I was ready.
So explain that first class.
So your father, your father put me in a push-up position and started whipping me with the stick, with the bamboo stick, which at that time, it was still allowed. It was something that was...
It was the norm.
It was the norm.
It was the norm. My father used to teach class with a stick in his hand.
Yeah, and we didn't get hit because we did something wrong. We got hit because we lost focus, or we weren't doing a technique the right way, or we weren't giving it all. That was something that your father was very big on. You know what? If you're here, give it your all. And so he put me in a position, and he started hitting me with the bamboo stick. And the first three were like nothing. I'm like, give me another. This is nothing. But he kept hitting me, and it got a little more painful. And it stopped being fun after the 10th, 11th hit, yes.
Because he always hit the same spot.
Same spot.
He never, you would hope he hit like a different part of the butt cheek or something. No, the same spot repeatedly.
And the thing about the bamboo sticks, it hurts when they hit you, and then when you go home and shower, I got the water stinging.
Right,
because bamboo opens skin.
Right.
You know, and so it pops skin open. So that was fun. And I was like, wow, you know, he really took advantage of what my mom said. I mean, my mom came with her head up, with tears in her eyes, asking your father to help her, because they were at wit's end with me. Yeah. And I was going a very dark path. And to be honest, I think it was for me a way of belonging to someone. I was in gangs, 2 or 3. I knew the leaders. I knew they were very good friends of mine. So I was never beat down into a gang. I was just slide in there, and I just did some activities with them. Some of them not so proud of, but yeah, my mom came in with a sad face. I mean, proud face, but very sad and at her wit's end. And to be honest, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, joining your school.
Would you say it saved your life?
To be honest, yes, because I saw a friend of mine maybe 8, 9 years ago, and we were on the same path. We were in the same gangs, same friends, same thing. And when I saw him on Main Street, and he had 3 scars on his face. Oof. And, you know, he was still the badass, like, talking all this and all that. And at that time, I was an accountant for a firm in Wall Street, and I didn't have the school yet, but I was still training with you.
Yeah.
But I knew that when I saw him, like, wow, I could have ended up either like him, dead, or in jail. One of those 3, guaranteed, no doubt in my mind. Because I had that type of attitude, I just didn't care. You know, I was like, I wanted to be a part of something, and I thought if this is what they wanted me to do, I have to do it. I can't deny it. Otherwise, I won't gain the respect that I wanted.
Sure.
So by joining your school, I belonged to something. And I saw some incredible people, met some incredible people there. We became friends, and, you know, we started hanging out socially as well.
Of course.
And a lot of sports was played.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, my mom's very happy because instead of me being in the streets doing negative things,
you were good people.
I was good people playing basketball, playing baseball. We were drinking pop instead of drinking beer.
Right.
So
we would play ball and end up at the school.
And then after school, right back to play ball.
Right there.
Yeah.
Football at Memorial Field.
Sure.
And then afterwards, Taekwondo.
And then basketball at John Mez's house.
Right, John. That's awesome in the backyard.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Man, it was good times.
Very good times.
Good times.
And that's the crazy thing. You don't understand that they are good times until they're past you.
Sure.
And I miss them. But I learned a lot, and your father was incredible. And I still say it to this day, if you were going to raise a martial artist from white to black, your father there was no one better. So I remember the days that we used to play football in the day, train at night, play basketball, train in the evening, and then play basketball at night at John Mez's house, which was always a good time. One thing that I admired about the school was there were so many individuals that were so like-minded. And
that was our tribe, man.
That was our tribe. And whenever you join a group like that, you know, you try to emulate them. You're like, wow, these people are awesome. I want to be like them. Now I'm following a good path, good role models, if you will, instead of the people that were on a not so savory path. And at that time, I one of the things that I noticed was, okay, I have these group of people, because I still saw my old friends from the neighborhood. I still hung out with them, I'm not gonna lie. But then I started seeing a different perspective. Okay, you have these people who train, they have their lives in order, they're successful individuals in and outside of the school, or at least in school, people that have their future in mind. And then you have the group that I was hanging out with, where they don't have the future in mind, they live day by day. And you have these people who are in Taekwondo that are 24, 25 years old, who are out of college or pursuing something more for them. And then I see my other friends who are
back then, there were so many adults, man. My father's school, every night, it would be like 20, 30 guys.
Yes.
Packed every night.
Packed every night.
Yeah.
And girls. Too. Girls, a lot of girls.
Yeah.
And which was, you know, a good variety. You know, the girls had their own skill, the guys had their own skill. And so I had my friends who I used to see 24, 25 years old, were high school dropouts, working in the supermarket as, you know, not that there's any shame with it, but
it's not where you want it to be.
It's not where I want it to be, you know. So throughout my life, I always wanted to make an impact. From that moment on, I always wanted to make an impact. Little did I know that going to your school would give me that opportunity so much more later on in life.
Yeah. And talk to me back then, when we started competing. When we started competing together. Because the one thing I loved, and I bring it up to people all the time, the training was the tough part.
Yes.
My father beating us with the stick. My father getting us to spar with guys twice our size, you know, because we're similar sizes.
Yes.
And that's why we always paired up very well. The training was always the hard part, but the competition was fun.
Yes.
That's what, and I still say that to this day. Training is the hard part. The competition is when we have a good time, you know. And we had some good times.
We've had some great times.
We had some awesome
even to this day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. You know, we have much more to go. But talk about your start in competition, because, you know, I talk about you all the time and your accolades as a competitor. Talk to us about that start, that initial time.
Once I started doing martial arts, I was like, you know what? There's like the movie The Karate Kid. I saw people went to tournaments. People did this. People did that.
Right.
You know, so I wanted to be a part of that.
Right.
I wanted to give myself some glory. I wanted to get out there and hit somebody. And I was a green belt.
It's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Foot to face.
Foot to face.
And you know, I was
Quoting my man Dorian.
Yes.
My
yes.
man Dorian, if you're watching from Trinidad, love you, brother.
Yes. Miss you, Mr. Dorian. Anyways, so I was a green belt, and we went to the Borough. It's a Manhattan college.
Yeah.
Yes. I was a green belt, and it was a point tournament. And I said to myself, I'm not having any great expectations. I just want to win my first fight.
Right.
That's all I wanted. I'd be happy if I won my first fight.
Right.
And I got in there, I won my first fight. I excited. Now I'm like, I want to win more.
Right,
But I
right,
lost
right.
my second fight. But anyways, I fulfilled my goal, won my first fight, and I was hooked. I was hooked. And from that moment, I'm like, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to fight. I don't want to do forms.
But you know, I was on the same page. That's why we're so similar.
Yes, yes.
But you know what was great about that tournament? I got disqualified
Yes.
at that tournament.
Yes.
You know, because the point system style was semi-contact. It was considered
Yes.
semi-contact. You
Yes.
couldn't really rock the head.
No. Plus, whenever you got a point, they would stop.
They would stop the match.
Yes.
So at that point, we were already transitioning to the sport or Olympic style, that generic term that they use, especially way back then, you know, Olympic style Taekwondo. And I remember that day I was fighting and I popped this guy right in the face.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah. And I got disqualified. I was like, what the?
Yeah, man.
That car ride home, I looked at my dad. I was like, Dad, we got to stop. I was like, we need to go to, you know, we need to step it up.
Yeah.
And
Should go away from the point system to the
Yeah.
full contact.
Yeah, exactly.
At that time, it was point system, full contact.
Yes.
It wasn't really called Olympic.
Yeah, yeah. So we went into that full contact, and that was great, man.
No, it was great. It was a
That
good
was
time.
great.
But that's how it all started. That's how
it
the
all
competition
started.
bug got in me.
And then we would hit each other hard in the school.
Different times.
Yeah, but I think it was worse. I think we got hurt less when we didn't have gear on.
Yes.
When we threw on gear, we got hurt because
Yes.
we were rocking each other.
Yes, I would remember one time there were a few of us there, you, a few other guys, and I
Yeah.
got popped right in the mouth.
Yeah.
My mouth exploded because I didn't wear a mouth guard.
Yeah.
Your father came up to me, he looked at me, he goes, beautiful. Beautiful. Put some sugar on there. Oh, sugar. Douses my mouth with sugar and I have a big gash and I'm bleeding. He goes, put sugar. And I'm like, ugh. And my first thought was like, is this gonna hurt? Like, Jesus Christ. And let me tell you, it helped with the healing process, no
Wow.
pain. It was amazing. I'm like, wow, sugar.
Smart man.
Smart man, smart man. He was like, beautiful, sugar. I'm like, beautiful, Jesus. So, yes. And that's one thing that, you know, we train hard, but
it shaped us.
it shaped
It built character, man.
build character.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's something that you don't see as much nowadays.
No.
You know?
I mean, dude, you remember when you went into the wall? You went through the sheetrock?
Oh, wow. Wow, I forgot all about that.
Right?
Nah.
And I remember the next day, I was petrified, bro. I was petrified. I had to explain to my dad, you went into the wall. And I'm like, man, he's gonna kick my ass. You know, we put a hole in his wall.
It was a big hole.
Dude.
My whole head went through it.
Big head.
Yes.
So, but my dad looked at me and he was like, so? He didn't care because he knew that we trained.
Yes.
He knew that instead of being out on the street, instead of doing nonsense, we were in the school training. And that's all he wanted.
Yes.
It was our safe place.
It was a safe place. And that's one thing that I want my students to see my school as. A safe place. Somewhere where you are safe, where there's no judgments. You are there to be there for you.
Yeah.
And no one else. You don't have your mother, your father, your husband, your boss. It's your time.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, getting back to competition, you know, I got this picture right here, you know, and I love this picture. I love this picture.
That was the time where I knocked some guys out and his blood came all over me. It was my first knockout.
So
It's my first knockout.
let's rewind this story. Washington Heights.
Washington, yes.
And we were, it's like,
Bright-eyed. I was 19, he was 16.
right. And, you know, the other gentleman in the picture, Taekwondo legend,
Master Mark Williams.
Master Mark Williams, and he'll be here soon one day. And love you, sir. And so we're in Washington Heights, and it's volatile.
Yes.
You know, heavy Dominican.
Yes.
Heavy Dominican. And I had fought.
And those guys fight. When we say it, we don't say it as a bad, we say it as a thing
Pelea.
of respect.
Yeah,
Because they fought.
Exactly. You know, we knew, and my father told us, we knew we weren't going there to score points.
No.
No, we had to fight. You know, that's how it was. These were guys that, you know, for lack of a better term, they didn't have Olympic aspirations. They just loved to fight.
Yes.
You know, they came from real humble background, and it wasn't just the people in the ring fighting. It was the people outside.
Yes.
Dude, they were cursing us out in the ring.
Yes.
And I won my 3 fights at junior, and I was like, whoa. I was like, thank God. You know, so I won juniors. They had approached me if I wanted to fight seniors. I was like, no. I was like, that was you, because you weren't even a black belt.
No, I would think I was a blue belt at that time.
Yeah, and my father put you in the black belt division.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which was very nerve-wracking. But I was like, why not? Let's go. Let's get crazy.
Yeah, let's go. You know, because he always tested us. You know, whether it was me being a 16-year-old, it's like, you're going to go fight adults now.
Yes.
Or you as a blue belt, he always pushed us to want more, to be better. And unfortunately, sometimes it required ass kickings.
Yeah.
You know, we learned tough love, whether it was the stick, whether it was someone twice our size beating us, you know, but so anyhow, we're at this tournament. And now you brought up your knockout.
Yeah.
My man was wearing a face mask.
Yes, he was, which actually was bad for him, because I hit him right in that face mask, and the face mask actually caved into his face. So I hit him that hard, and he didn't see it coming. And it came out like, I don't know how it happened, but the blood just splattered all over the place. I had it all over me. That's why we actually took that picture after the knockout, and that's why your father said, put on the jackets.
Yeah.
To cover the blood.
Because you have blood all over your uniform. I remember that. Oh, man.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But I remember being in that ring at that tournament, man, and they're screaming from the outside in like, oh, man, they were cursing nasty.
It was an experience. Definitely.
It was an experience.
It was an experience.
It was an experience.
And we were not in our element.
No, we weren't. No, we weren't, but we knew how to conduct ourselves.
Of course.
You know, we didn't start anything. We didn't talk back. We gained respect with how we fought and with our demeanor.
Yes.
You know, we walked out of there with our heads high, you know, and oh, man, I want to say that tournament was a Sunday. Monday we're right back into school.
Right, yeah. I couldn't wait to get back.
Yeah, right back.
Couldn't wait.
You know, because my father always taught us, you know, the medals are beautiful. They're great. They look good, they're decoration. But if you remember, he always said they collect dust.
Yes.
It's not the trophy, it's not the medals that we won, it's the memories we created together. Again, that's that special bond that we have that I want people to understand. You know, being around, as you put it, like-minded individuals. You know, so, you know, competition was great. And you loved it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. I couldn't wait to get more. Yeah. I wanted to become elite. I wanted to go as far as I could.
Yeah.
And throughout the years, life gets in the way.
Sure.
Well, that's something I tell my students. I'm like, oh, I can't come because of this. Oh, I got college, I got classes, I got work. I'm like, listen, life will always get in the way of training. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you come back.
Yep.
You know, because I was going to college, I had work, so there was always periods of my life
sure.
where
we all experienced that.
Yes.
As we got older.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, let's bring it to 2010. 2010, when I opened up the New York Black Belt Center.
So, to go back a little bit, real quick. So I was training somewhere else, and I popped my knee. I tore my meniscus. And I didn't train for many years because I was, doing my own thing.
Sure.
I was living my life. And I got married, and then divorced. And that's a long story for another podcast. But like I said, but I was living my life. And then I really had no interest in training again.
And we reconnected on Facebook.
No, wrong.
Wrong?
We saw each other in the street.
That's right.
Yes, we saw each other on the street. And you said to me, hey, listen, I'm about to open up a school. Why don't you come train? And to be honest, at first I was like, maybe. And then you connected with me on Facebook.
Yes.
And
I got that part right.
Right.
50%.
But we did see each other live in person.
Yes, I remember.
We spoke and we would always run into each other throughout the years. Yeah. You know,
it was like time never passed.
Right, and we always were very, cool with each other. And so 2010, we saw each other. You contacted me through Facebook, and I was like, you know what? I'll go for a little bit. I was the first degree black belt. Out of shape, very much out of shape. But hey, why not? It'll give me something to do after work, little hobby. Let me get back to it. And I loved it. Why? Because I was with like-minded individuals as the Fabulous Five.
Right. I had 5 of you guys.
Yes, and it reminded me of the old days with your father. We trained hard. I mean, we would even take pictures of our bruises.
Right.
Yes, on my leg. Like Jake popped me in my leg and I had a huge bruise and we're both like...
Because remember that 2010 now, you figure we could document on social media. We couldn't document nothing back in the day.
No.
If we didn't have one of those dollar cameras or someone had a camera, we had nothing. All we had is memories to speak about.
Yes.
But now we got social media and now we're, showing the world what we were about.
Right. So, again, with these like-minded individuals, and it was just fun again. And we would fight, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to compete again.
You remember that?
I remember that.
Because I opened a school, and if you remember, I had no intentions on a competition team.
No.
Nothing. But we're in there sweating. We're in there training.
Why not?
And then one day, Kevin Kelly comes out. He's like, so when are we competing?
Music to my ears.
Your eyes lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Jay, Chad, Stelios, and we're like, whoa.
And my first tournament didn't go well.
No,
because I was very overweight and out of shape.
Timing was off, distance was off, everything.
Yeah, it didn't go. I lost my first fight to someone I shouldn't have lost to.
Right.
And I was very upset.
Extremely. And I know you better than anybody. And I remember everyone's trying to console you. And I
was inconsolable.
And I walked away.
Yes.
And I remember people looked at me and they were like, yo, why are you walking away, man? I'm like, I know John.
Yeah. I was inconsolable.
Yeah.
I was like, get away from me.
Right.
I suck.
But that didn't stop you.
No. It just literally made me angry.
Yeah.
And I wanted to cut some weight.
Yeah.
Lose, because I was about 190, 195 at that time.
Right.
And I wanted to cut some weight and get back in there, and because I couldn't move like I used to. Like at that moment, my head is telling me do something, but my body is like,
Right. It's a step off.
It's a step off.
Right.
And my next tournament, I actually won gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a nice. And I remember we were.
Because you figure at this point, I'm sitting in everyone's chair. I'm not competing.
Right. No. At this time.
No. My concern was building a school around you guys.
Right.
You know, you guys that I grew up with, that I wanted to build a solid foundation. So my focus was on coaching and teaching. And that's where it was. It was building the school. But I had to build the school with strong guys. And even after you lost, I knew, like back in the day, because that's all I know. That's how my father taught me. You know, we fell off that horse. We had to get back on. There was no, man, we lost at this tournament. All right, we're done. No. That fueled us even more. Like the old days.
Yeah.
We got right back in there.
Right back in there.
Right back in there. And the results started coming.
And it gave me such a fulfillment to be a part of something positive. It fulfilled my life. It gave me purpose.
Right.
And that's how a lot of people, like, you know, I have students who are depressed and things of that nature. And I say to them, what's your purpose in life? Find your purpose. It doesn't have to be Taekwondo. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Find your purpose in life. And believe me, we'll have more meaning, and it'll fulfill your life. And it'll make you happier. And understand that the happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. Mm-hmm. And that's how I try to look at my life. Every day is a journey. And my school, with you, with friends, on our trips that we take together.
Right.
You know,
it's the memories. It's not just a competition. It's the car ride there, the dinners afterwards.
Now the trips that we take.
Right. Now we're intensifying the competitions, and we're not going local anymore.
No
more Queens College. Now
we go local for our students.
Right. But now with you guys, I was like, you know what? Let's go. And we start going to state championships, and we start going. Now our mindset is on nationals, and you know
International.
Right. Everything is just going up and up, and I'm doing it with my blood, sweat, and tears, guys that I grew up with. Like, explain to people the initial days of New York Black Belt Center. Explain to people how we trained in 2010, 2011.
And the beauty of that time was, you know, now, you know, both of us have multiple bags, multiple pads, multiple this, multiple that. You need this, we got bands, we got bungee cords, we got all these. Now. But when you started, we literally had one bag, 3 paddles.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So we had to hit each other.
Yeah. Or just kick the air.
Right.
Or share the pad.
Right.
In one way or another. So it doesn't matter. I mean, it's nice to have all that equipment, but what made it special is that we didn't need all that. We had each other. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I remember Jay Young, he goes to me, I love this place. You know, and that was after I hit him with a spinning hook kick.
After you hit him?
After I hit him with a spinning hook kick. And believe me, he's amazing.
Right.
Amazing martial artist.
Right.
So his attitude wasn't like, oh, he got me. His attitude was like, wow, this place is amazing. I love it.
After getting hit.
And right then and there, I said to myself, I found my tribe again.
Right.
I found my peoples.
Right.
And then, you know, Jae Young was Korean, Kevin Kelly Irish, Stelios was Greek. And Chet is Jamaican. And I was the Colombian land.
And your master's Italian.
And my master's in Italian, yes, which was amazing.
Right.
And we have some wonderful pictures of us,
Right.
five of us together. There's even one of five of us holding you up, you know, because we had such respect and such admiration for what you were doing and for creating something that was more than just a physical place. It was spiritual. Right. It was fulfilling. It gave all of us purpose. So much so that when you needed us, we were there. Right. You know, I remember God bless your father, when he passed, you know, you came to me and Kevin Kelly and you said, you know, I have to close the school. I need time to mourn. I need time to set things aside. I need to finalize my affairs with my family. And this was literally a year into the school, almost 2 years. Almost 2 years into the school. And your biggest concern was, wow, how will my school survive? And believe me, I understand it 100%. Me closing for a week out of nowhere, that would hurt me. Mm-hmm. And we said to you, you know what? Kevin Kelly said to you, John and I will take over the school. At that time, I was not working. I was doing some freelance stuff. And I had the time. Why not? And for us, being there for you was our way of paying you back for everything you've done for us. Even a year and a half after having the school. And we did our best. And I was very scared of the children. Right. I could teach at that time. I could only teach adults at that time. I remember there's one kid barrel rolled towards me, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to tell him no. You know, it was just, thank God Kevin Kelly came, and because he was good with children. Yeah. It just goes to show you the lengths that we went for each other. Yeah. And
that created something.
It did.
It created something. It created a special word. Our team.
Oh, the Fabulous Five?
No.
The Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack. Yes.
That's where that came from.
Yes.
Yeah. Team Wolfpack. You know, that camaraderie that we had. You know, we always traveled together. You know, we were strong as a pack.
Yes. And we needed each other.
But if we were alone, we knew how to handle ourselves. Mm-hmm. But we always had each other's back.
Yes.
Always, to this day.
To this day. Yeah. I mean, I could call any of those gentlemen that I just mentioned, and they would show up in front of my school if I needed to.
Sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So, you know, we're moving along on this journey together. You know, you brought up, you know, when my father passed, shortly after that, you know, I had to make the big decision, you know, to move the school to Bayside.
Yes, it was around that time, yes.
And I had so much uncertainty at that point. You know, I moved the school to a location, 3 times the size, right next to my mother's restaurant. And I was scared.
I was scared for you.
Dude, I was petrified. But again, like that 3rd floor, who were the first guys back in my school? You guys. And I felt strong again, especially after what I went through with my dad. And I felt strong again. And the school got bigger. And next thing I know, because my biggest fear about Bayside was the school was going to look empty. That was my big fear, that I didn't have enough students to fill that mat. But it started getting filled. And then the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, I got to expand. Right?
Right.
And I'm like, who do I expand with? You brought up, you were freelancing at the time, you weren't working.
At that time?
Yeah.
Well, right before that, I was working. Okay, so what happened was I got laid off.
Right.
I got laid off. I was working for a company, and it was in Wall Street, and I was the director of underwriting for this firm. And me traveling to the school was a very strenuous event because I couldn't take the car into Manhattan. So I literally had to take a train to a bus and everything. So it was about an hour and 45 minutes to get to the school. And I said to myself, you know what? At this point in my life, I have to worry about myself, my career, you know, maybe setting myself up with a family, settling down, that sort of thing. And I was very career-oriented, career-minded. I would go in on Saturdays. Mind you, it was salary. I wasn't getting any overtime. But you know what? For the company, that I have to sacrifice. I was not one of the things that was a detriment to my career was the fact that I was never a kiss ass. I wasn't good with authority.
That's why I opened up a business for myself. I didn't have that in me.
I fought with one of my bosses for 27 cents. When it really, I was like, because you know it was big money moving around, and he goes to me, "Why didn't you calculate it was 27 cents then?" And I'm like, "It doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter." And he just wanted to argue with me, and he called me something which I've never heard before. I had to look it up at that time. It was that John Rodriguez. He has a very cavalier attitude. I'm like, wow, never heard that one before. But yeah, I wasn't good with authority. And
you never were.
No, I never was.
Yeah.
So I got laid off because they wanted to move the company in a different direction. I was actually on vacation in Cancun. And I came into the office, and the office had a weird feel. I sat down, I started doing my work. And for me, no news is good news. If the bosses don't want to talk to me, don't talk to me. I don't want to. If they want me in their office, damn it.
Right.
What do they want?
Right.
And what are they annoying me about?
Right.
I just like to be left alone. I had my own office. I closed the door, did what I had to do. And they came into my office because they came around 10:30. And like, oh, can we see you? And they were like, oh, you look great. You have a great tan, complimenting me. And one of them said, well, then he told me, listen, we're going to have to let you go. They gave me a severance package, which was nice, but still it was a very big blow. Because I said to myself, I gave everything to this company and they're still throwing me away. And that's the thing about corporate America. They don't really care. You're just something to help them on their path or on their trajectory. They don't really care about the individual. So I came in and one of them said to me, hey, listen, because they knew about my Taekwondo, my training and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, listen, if you ever decide to open up a school, let us know, we'll help you out. I'm like,
right.
Which was kind of interesting.
Right.
I left panicking, straight up panicking, because I'm like, wow, what am I gonna do?
I remember.
I went home. I didn't go home. I went to a library and I started sending out resumes for like 3-4 hours. And if anybody knows, looking for a job is a job in itself.
Right.
Like, good Lord, like before it was just send a resume. Now you gotta fill out all these applications, etc. So the next day, I didn't want to stay home. I was like, what am I gonna do? You know what? Let me go to Joe's school. I walk in, you look at me and you go, what are you doing here? You know what? Your exact words are, what are you doing here? Are you okay? You know what? Forget it. We're opening up school together. Just like that.
Just like
and
that.
I'm like, okay.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Right.
And I was like, wow, okay.
Because it was a crazy time. Also, you had experienced a traumatic loss at that time too.
Yes. My mom passed away in 2016.
Yeah.
16 or was it 14?
14, because we opened the school in 16.
Yes. Sorry, yes. It was in 2014 that my mom passed. And she was never a fan of Taekwondo for many reasons.
Right.
She saw it as something that would lead nowhere. She would literally see me come home with bruises, limping. She goes, I don't understand why you go someplace to let people kick you like an idiot. I don't care how the other guy
Crazy.
looks.
This is all after Beat My Son.
Yes, it's after all.
In 1993.
And now I'm getting beat up.
Right.
You know, but that's how you learn.
All right.
You know, but she goes, I don't understand this. And I don't understand why you're spending money to go to the Nationals. I don't understand why you're doing this. Why?
Mama got soft.
Yeah, no. But on her final days, which was interesting, she saw that it gave me happiness. It fulfilled my life. And at at the end of her days, she said to me, you know what? I was wrong about it. Do what makes you happy. Whether people agree with it or not. You're not here to please others. You're here for you and your life, what gives you happiness. And I see that the people that are around you are positive.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully nothing terrible happens, like you don't lose a tooth or something. She goes, because you look very ugly. But you're happy and continue to do what you're doing.
Right.
And she never got to see the school or what I built, but her picture's there.
Of course. Yeah, and then, you know, as I say, you know, every day I look to make my dad proud in that school. I know you're doing the same for your mom, you know,
Bless.
all the time. So now I approach you about opening up that school.
A very scary venture because, again, at that time I only knew how to teach adults, not really children. So I had to go into your program and teach along with you and learn that aspect.
That was hard for me.
That was very hard for me. Very hard for me. Yeah, I'm sure.
I was grinding my teeth with you.
Yes, because your first comment was, John, we're not training the North Korean army over here. Because I was very strict. You know, it was our way.
Yeah.
I mean,
but times have changed since 1993.
Yes.
You know, we adapt or we die.
Yes.
You know, so the methods changed.
Yes.
Yes, respect is always paramount. But we got to go through the back door. We can't bust in the front door with a bamboo stick anymore.
No. And as you remember, my first year, I got in trouble.
Yeah.
With a bamboo stick.
Right.
And you actually gave it to me on my 3rd degree black belt test as a present, as a gift.
As a gift.
And
not thinking that you were going to use it.
But very scary venture because, you know, you're opening a business, you're putting all your resources into something, then you hope it will expand and bloom. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, I mean, even if some guy down the street opens up a restaurant and it fails, you feel bad for him. You know what? It was his dream, his goal, I'm sure he put everything into it, and it just, you know, and you feel for that guy. And, you know, I don't want to be there. You know, and I've always said it, the second I give the check to my landlord, the next day I'm worried about the next month.
The next one.
You know.
The life of a business owner.
Yes. And there's been times where I give that check and I literally have $10 in my bank account. But you know what? My rent's paid.
Yeah. Because we're responsible. That's how we were raised. You know, but opening up that school was a great thing. And the neighborhood especially.
Yes.
You know, I remember you coming up to me like, where are we going to open up a school? And I love Bayside. You know, there's some beautiful people in Bayside. But I knew you needed to be in an area of your people. I knew it. And it worked.
It worked. Yes.
It worked. You know, the people, I mean, there were days in Bayside that parents would just look at me and say, hi, how are you, Master Joe? Very, very, very black and white, you know. But I remember the first week walking into Corona. Maestro! Little abuelita giving me a hug, giving me a kiss, you know, asking me if I was hungry. Running down the block, getting me a plate of food. You always had food on the desk.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible. I say horrible because it's hard to keep weight. You know, I'm trying to cut weight, and
right.
I got 3 chocolate chip cookies, some tacos.
Right. It's just the neighborhood.
It's just the
neighborhood.
know,
I remember one night, and a woman selling tamales on the corner. I'm like, all right, let's go. You know, it was great. You know, and the neighborhood took to you. And we could say because of the Latino heritage, you know, we would be in there, And I would have to speak Spanish. My Italian always comes out, but I would have to bust it out.
Of course.
You know, and I loved it. I loved it, and they love you. Granted, you don't teach the way.
Well, in the beginning, I did
it,
teach like you, but now I have my own style, my own method.
Yeah.
You know,
you grew into yourself as a person, as an individual, and it's worked. It's worked. They have so much respect for you. Like, I mean, how did you gain the respect of your students in a new neighborhood? How did you make that work?
A lot of it is leading through example. Something that you've taught, your father has taught. My students see that I still train, even at my age, at a high level.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes twice a day, and they see that, you know, and they see that if I'm telling you to do 100 push-ups, I'm doing it right next to you. If I tell you to run 2 miles, I'm right next to you. Sure, I'll be hurting a little bit, but you know what? I'm grinding with you. Mm-hmm. And the respect comes from that sort of example of understanding that, hey, I've been through what you've been through. I've suffered like you suffered. Now we're gonna suffer together. So I admire my students who, and I've lost students because I'm a little strict, I'm not gonna lie. And like, you know, especially that bamboo incident, whereas if people don't know, there were 2 kids on the line, one kid side kicks one kid and he goes flying. And had just moved my bench literally about 6 inches because I was like, maybe it's a little too close to the mat. And he went flying into that area. Now, if I didn't move the bench, he would have cracked his head open. Yeah. And I was furious because one of my rules is you do not kick without my permission, no matter what. There's no kicking. You kick the bag, you kick this, the pads, as per my permission. And because the one kid said, hey, you can't kick me, you can't send me flying. And what does one do?
Whap.
Whap. And I lost it. I was so angry, mainly because of what could have happened.
Sure.
I put him in a position, I grabbed the bamboo sticks, I gave him 2 whips each. What happened, one of the kids went crying home. The uncle puts down the kid's pants, and as I told you before, bamboo breaks the skin open. And he comes with me with pictures, like, listen, this can't happen to my nephew. And they threatened me.
Different times.
Different times.
Yeah.
And your words were to me, John, you're not wrong, but you're not right. It's different times. Can't do that anymore. And I learned. Like, you know what, I gotta step, you know, take off a little bit off the gas in regards to the way I taught. And I was just so angry. I wanted them to, you know? So they threatened me. And I even said to you, it was a Monday night, and I go, Joe, if I'm not arrested tonight, everything is good. The police don't come, child services, protective services.
Yeah.
You know, it was scary, you know. But thank God nothing happened, and I learned.
It was a learning experience because at the end of the day, you know, yes, we have the title master, we have the title instructor, but at the core of it, we're always students. And we learn, and a lot of times we learn through failure.
And the crazy thing is that those children, there were 4 of them, they still stopped by the school and say hello.
Yeah.
And it was the parents that took them away.
Sure.
And they were doing great, you know. And like I said, those kids, the one, especially the kid that I hit, he still comes by the school and says hello.
That's respect because they learned. Just like we'll rewind back to 1993, when I thought your mom was the meanest woman on earth.
But there was a reason for it.
But what did I learn many years later? Maybe not at 13, but I learned she did that because she loved you.
Yes.
And that's why, you know, we used to call that stick the love stick. And we didn't understand it. But now I do.
And that's what I saw when I did that. You know, I saw, the discipline with this kid, because that's how we were disciplined.
Yeah.
We never said anything. I never complained to my mom once. I never said anything to my mom once. And I have a lot of kids like that who, I don't want to do this. They complain to their mothers all the time. And I have this one kid who's not as quick, not as fast, not as able, but he's not, and I used to abuse this kid bad. Like, he wasn't running fast, I would make him do like sprint drills with kids behind him running. If someone caught him, he would do 20 squats. I mean, this kid would never complain to his mother once. Now he's an ideal student. Love him.
Yeah. Tough love.
Tough love. But you know what? He never complained. And like I said, he was never the most able, the most athletic, but he tries.
Mm-hmm.
And he got his stuff together.
Yeah. As instructors, we know the students that we could push.
Yes.
And you got lots of those in Corona.
Yeah, no, they're tough kids.
Yeah, they're
tough kids.
It's a different kind of neighborhood. It's a humble neighborhood. It's a strong neighborhood. These are kids that walk to the school on their own.
Yes.
Whereas me, they're getting dropped off. So it takes a different kind of kid to walk 3-4 blocks on their own, and that's what you have there. Rain, snow. I have to close at like an inch of snow.
No. So my kids get mad at me.
Right.
Yeah, like, why? We'll dig our way here.
And that neighborhood is just taken to you.
I love the neighborhood. It's been good to me. I've tried to give back to the neighborhood. There's been days where me and my students will go around the neighborhood and we'll grab some garbage bags and pick up the garbage.
Yeah.
There was a few times where I've had to foolishly defend the neighborhood.
Yeah.
When now that in hindsight, I should have called the police. Mm-hmm. But I saw one time one of the grocery owners, he was literally being under siege by 3 guys with like poles. Me foolishly grabs one of the swords from my rack and I run.
For the audience, please don't do this. Please, I beg you.
No, but it was a sheathed sword.
Continue, Kill Bill.
And, well, I mean, I saw weapons. So I actually grabbed 2 ninja stars that I had.
Please don't do this. I look at the camera again.
Like I
Please,
said,
don't do this.
In hindsight, it was a dumb idea. And actually, one of those times, I went to his house. And
Look at me.
And one of the times, I had a friend, one of my friends, George.
Just stop.
No.
Say you will never do this again.
I'll never do it again.
Thank you. Continue.
But I actually went to his house and I go, George, can we go by the school? Because I don't know. I saw these people saw where my school was and they were like talking smack. And I just want to make sure my school's good. And he drove me by. I'm like, we're good. But foolishly, yes, I did go, try to defend. And while nothing happened, something could have happened.
Sure.
And they didn't see the sword. They saw a stick.
Gracias a Dios.
That's what they saw. That's what they described it. Oh, what's up with you and your stick? In my head, I'm like, it's not really a stick, my friends. But hey, and the reason that nothing happened was the police got there really quick. And the shop owner says to me now that he sees me, he goes, I'll never forget that night that you came to help me. But I have to. It's my neighborhood. During COVID, we got a letter from the state assembly saying that we were going to be looted, we were going to get invaded, and I called all the shop owners that I knew. Listen, if anybody comes and starts destroying your store, call me. I'll be there. I called some of my friends. I literally laid all my swords, all my weapons on the bench. And I was like, listen, if anything happens, we're defending the neighborhood. Why? Because the neighborhood has been good to me. Why couldn't I give back in some way or another? I had to defend. Nothing happened. I used to send my friends home.
Thank you, Batman.
But again, in hindsight,
But I get your premise. I understand, giving back, as you put it.
Or protecting the neighborhood.
Protecting, because we have a love of what we do that was ingrained in us from day one. Ingrained.
And you know me, I was never shy to get into a fight.
No. That's why we're such good friends. I know. I tell everyone this. I was like, if I'm going to battle, I know who to call. I know who's going to be on the front line.
Yes, sir.
But that's friendship right there. That's a friendship that was brought by martial arts at the end of the day.
Can I tell you the day and the moment that you had my undying loyalty? It was at your wedding. It was at your wedding.
May 4th, 2013.
Right. And you had a cigar roller there.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought it was cool. I was like, wow, this is great. Stogies. This is awesome.
Right.
And I think each one of them was like $60, $70. It wasn't cheap. And I'm like, wow, it'd be cool to have a stogie. And there was a list on the side of 10 individuals who got free stogies. And I was with somebody at that time, and I go to her, I was like, it would be cool if I was on that list. Lo and behold, my name was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I was touched, to be honest. And that was the moment where you had my undying loyalty.
Because I don't forget, we bring it back to 2010, we had nothing.
Nothing.
All I had was you guys. All I had for my dream to come true, to have an amazing school. There's no I in team.
You need amazing people.
I needed you guys. I needed you. And if you remember, only in the very beginning, because obviously I had to pay bills, but shortly after, I stopped charging you guys because your presence to me was priceless. You guys built the New York Black Belt Center. You guys are the original wolf pack, so to say. So yeah, when that list came out, and the crazy part is about the cigar roller, I never saw him.
Well, you were very busy that day.
I was out taking pictures. I was actually pissed off.
Yeah.
I paid all this money for a cigar roller, and I didn't even know what the dude looked like. It could have been, I don't know, a ballerina in a tutu rolling cigars. I had no idea. I didn't see it. I didn't see the cocktail hour. I was too busy taking pictures. Anyhow. But that list was very special to me. And everyone on that list meant something.
And I knew it. And I was like, wow. And all my inhibitions, anything that I had doubts about anything were gone that day. I was like, you know what? This is where I belong. And there was no other place I'd rather be, rather train, because many people have said it. You're a good leader, good motivator, and very inspirational, the things that you do. And I understand that, and I've said it to my students, I go, Master Joe is a great man. And not because of he is a master in Taekwondo, because of the person that he is.
Yeah. It's never about the accolades.
No.
The accolades is nothing, man. Like my father said back in the day, man, all those medals we've won, it's the memories. The people don't remember you for the championships. They don't remember that.
Oh. They remember who you are.
They remember if you're a good person.
They remember.
And we learned that young.
Yes. And one of the things that made me better was you. And I have 3 major inspirations in my life in Taekwondo. And one of them is your father. Another one, I don't know if you want me to say his name, Tony Graff.
Oh, of course.
Yes, he was very...
Another future guest, by the way.
Yes.
I haven't spoken to you yet, but you're going to get that phone call soon.
He was just so dedicated in the training. So that helped. And you. I mean, but 2 out of those 3 are Lupo. And You said it yourself. First person that you would take to battle is me, and the first person I would go to war for is you.
Wow. So with all that being said, let's fast forward a bit. Okay. Something very touching to me that you actually inspired me. It was 2019. At that point, I felt my school was very established. I had gone through a massive weight loss journey because after my daughter, I ballooned.
Yes.
My daughter was colicky for 3 months.
I was the skinny one, you were the chunky one.
Oh man, it got bad. And I remember we did a training session and I looked at a picture of myself and I was like, holy shit, I'm huge. The next day, jumped right on a diet.
It didn't go well for you in the beginning. No, remember you kicked Dino and something tweaked and...
I was, sure, because I had to motivate myself, and the only way I could motivate myself was going back to what we originally did. Fighting. That's it. I had to go back. But you know what? The diet started happening. And now I'm losing weight. And now I'm starting to look good in that white uniform.
And you became the skinny one, and I became the chunky one.
You gotta stop eating rice, brother. So now I'm losing weight. What's the first thing I do? What are you doing Tuesday morning?
Nothing. And I'll be right over.
And we start sparring.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. And we just start going at it. And I'm wearing sweatsuit on top of sweatsuit on top of sweatsuit. You're wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but anyhow. I'm sweating up a storm, and then it clicked. I need to jump back into competition. And you were right there by my side. And it was like old times. Because who else is gonna push me like you? And it worked for you as well.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. As you said, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. And your accolades started going up.
Yes.
Because at that point, 2019, we backtrack all those years. You won a lot of tournaments.
But they were local. From 2010 to 2019.
But even states, you were winning states.
Yes.
And then at nationals, you were like second fiddle every time. You were and it killed me sitting in that chair. And it killed me. But we started getting good together. I started winning again, really quickly. But the only reason that happened was because of you guys. I don't take the credit for that. It was because of you guys. And now I'm like, what do I gotta do? In my head, I'm on the USA Masters team. I made the first ever ultra national team. You were there with me. But in the back of my mind, I was like, what do I gotta do to get John over that hump? And then we had that conversation and I remember, I was like, John, I love you, but I don't wanna go to competition anymore and fight you. Because we would have bumped into each other because you were still at minus 80.
Yes, but that was bad for me. I
didn't want that. You didn't do well.
No,
and it started getting worse.
Yes.
And I didn't want that for you. So at that point, I was like, I knew this is gonna suck. But John, you gotta go to minus 68.
And then when things really popped for me.
Yeah, and we started sparring more.
Yes.
We started training more. And it wasn't pleasant because now I'm outweighing you.
Yes.
And I'm hitting you harder, and I'm hitting you harder. But it worked. Take me to that day in 2023 when you finally got over that hump and won your first nationals.
One of the things I did after that, I went back to the ring and I sat in the middle and tears were going down my eyes.
I know. I was back home crying for you, and you know that.
Yes, you were here because you had a wedding.
Yeah.
You couldn't be there. But it was a very special moment because up to that point, from 2010 to that point, I've won a few international tournaments. I think I was second place at nationals.
God.
6, 7 times.
Right.
So, and there was always some craziness. Sometimes it would be golden point.
Oh my God, that was the worst. A few times. Last second. Oh man. I said it to myself, you were cursed. I sat in that chair and I'm like, man, he's cursed.
In the first round, after the 3 rounds, we'd be 10-10 and something would happen where, but finally happened and you were the first person I called.
Yeah.
And because I knew that if anybody would be happy for me to be you, and very emotional moment, very proud moment, and gave me an opportunity to travel, which was in itself a great journey.
Right.
But
representing the U.S. and Mexico.
Yes, which I won gold.
Yeah.
Very awesome moment for me. And it was cute because when I came back, most of my students are either Mexican or Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
So my Mexican students were very proud.
You were champion of the people.
Champion. Let me tell you, that night I must have gained like 15 pounds. They just came with food.
Right.
On stop.
That's love.
That's love. That's how they express
love.
Yes. And now, one of the things that, makes me proud was also making Masters team with you. And we got to travel together to Korea, which was one of the best trips of my life, even though there was some mess up with my application that I didn't get to fight, but I was there for you.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, at the end I didn't want to go, but you even said to me, it'd be better if you come with us. The money's there.
I couldn't do it without you.
Right. And there's a picture of us, one of my favorite pictures of us together. We're waiting in the holding area. You're focused with your gear on. And I'm sitting next to you, holding your helmet, understanding the situation. I don't have to say nothing. I didn't say anything. I didn't even look at you.
Yeah.
But I felt I had to be next to you.
You were staring at my opponent.
Yes. Yes, I was giving him dirty looks, which was unnecessary. But you know me.
But we're boys.
Yes.
We're boys.
Yes.
Thick and thin.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we're there for each other.
Yeah.
I went into that ring with you.
And it's funny because one of the individuals who beat me the year before at Nationals, he was fighting. And we're like, oh, this guy's fighting. And you're like, I don't want to look at him. He beat my boy. The hell with him. And it was at that same tournament. But like I said, we were there and we were sitting down and nothing had to be said. And someone did take a picture of it, which I'm eternally grateful because I think it's one of our best pictures together. Just like this one.
Right.
I mean, this one's yours, but I have my own. I have a copy of it hung up in my school, and that picture will never come down.
Right.
So, we have a few more years together in the fight. My hips hurt a little bit, my knees hurt a little bit.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. But I'm trying to enjoy this journey along with you. Because I can't do it with anybody else.
Right.
I mean, we've made some friends along the way, and that's all nice and dandy. But to be honest, if you're not going internationally somewhere, I don't really want to go. Part of the journey is the people that you go with, the memories you'll make with those people, and I want to continue making those memories with you.
Yeah.
It's important for me.
Sure.
Because that is what fulfills me. And like you said, it's not about the medal. And like I said, there was a problem with my application at the
I remember.
Masters Games. I didn't win anything, but it was one of the most amazing trips I've ever had.
Sure.
And it was awesome seeing you win gold. You're a beast at that. I didn't think there was anybody in that division that could beat you. You're amazing and inspiring, and I was glad to be there. I was very happy to be there. I'm glad I didn't miss it.
I'm just as glad. And like I said, I couldn't do it without you. So we talk about a black belt way of life. Where do you see your black belt way of life taking you in the future?
I want my school to expand as much as it can. When you have a business, you have ups and downs. It's a roller coaster ride.
100%.
You know, especially there's months during the year that don't go well for me. Kids go on vacation, and you understand our business, we are not a necessity, we are a luxury.
Yep. We treat it like one, though.
Yes.
Because we always needed it.
Yes, I always needed it.
Yeah.
And I do have students that need it. And I have a few students that are my core who will follow me into battle as long as I lead them. And I've always said, you're a great inspiration, a great person, a great man. If I could be half of what you are, then I will have I would have a fulfilled life. And to me, that is my black belt, to follow and make you proud, make my family proud, make my students proud, and understand that I want my school to be my legacy, our legacy, together. I can't do it without you. I really can't. It is my hope that one day the New York Black Belt Center lives up to its name, that we will have rows of black belts.
From your mouth to God's ears. And with that, man, it's a great, because we could talk all night.
We could.
We could keep going, because we got 30 plus years of stories and memories. But
yes, many
beautiful ones.
Taekwondo and life stories. You know, I mean, you've been there through my toughest times. You've known of my accolades in and out of the school. You've known of my disappointments, my failures. I'm not perfect, you know. I try to be as best I can. And I always tell my students, like, my competition is not against the guy down the street or another master, no. My competition is being better than from what I was yesterday.
Best version of you.
Best version of me. I try to be a better brother, a better son, a better instructor, a better master, a better friend. I fall short maybe sometimes. I am human, but my intention is there, and I try very hard every day to do so.
And let's continue that black belt way of life. Salud, my
Salud.
brother. Salud.
To another 30 years.
Oh. Thank you for watching tonight's episode and listening in. Please make sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. You could find us on social media. You could listen to us on all major audio platforms. If you would like to sponsor a Black Belt Way of Life podcast, please send us an email at ablackbeltwayoflifepodcast@gmail.com. And always remember, a black belt is worn around your heart, never your waist. Salud.
A Black Belt Way of Life podcast was produced by Press Record Studios.